25 minutes. We gotta go.
Ew. What's going on, guys? Happy Wednesday and welcome into another episode of Say That. Guys, if this is your first time checking us out, let us hear it in the comments below. If you're watching the replay, let us know if this is the first time and welcome in. All right, guys, so if you're new to our show, we are all about the ugly come up. We love talking to entrepreneurs about the journey from the start to where they are now, through the difficult times that they had. And here on our platform, we interview different guests. My partner in crime, Janelle, is currently on a cruise right now, enjoying herself. And so today I am honored to have someone who's going to be on with me today. And so I am going to bring my brother from another up to the stage. Guys, this is someone who is no stranger to the show, someone who I actually had the pleasure of learning and building a business. We were both in network marketing together, learning how to build teams, lead, literally having the opportunity to get on stage, travel around the world. He is a consummate entrepreneur, currently the CVO of the conglomerate, a global networking connection group. And it is my absolute pleasure, guys, to bring to the stage AC Williams.
Welcome to the show.
I made it, Winston.
There he is.
How you doing?
There he is. What is going on, bro?
Man, I am just excited as always. And first of all, I am honored to be here, man, with you and be a guest host. This is really cool. I appreciate it. I'm getting in line to do it again after I finish. It's like being on a roller coaster, right? I'm gonna go back and get in line again, bro. So I just want to let you know. But I'm honored to be here and excited. So,
no, man. Thank you. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to do this. So let's jump into it, guys. The topic for today is going to be, what does it take to sell mortgages in the current market? And so if you are, people who are fans of the show, you already know that's not necessarily AC's expertise. And so we have the blessing to actually have a young man who's going to be on with us. AC, introduce that brother.
Yeah, listen, I met this young man probably 2 months ago. And from the moment I met him, I knew there was something special about him. He's down to earth, very passionate about what he does. He's one of the up and coming professionals in the mortgage industry. Currently a mortgage advisor with Texas Mortgage Associates. This gentleman is phenomenal. Pay attention. Hear his story. You just don't want to miss out. Welcome, Ian Hill. Ian, how you doing?
Welcome to the show.
How's it going? How's it going?
There he is. Ian, welcome.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Absolutely. So now, Ian, one of the things we like to do with our guests is to ask them to talk a little bit about the journey. You have your title as a mortgage advisor, but share with us a little bit about where you started in this, maybe a little bit about school, your family, kind of what got you to where you are now.
Gotcha. So I kind of got in mortgages kind of a weird way. So I moved here from Shreveport, Louisiana. I was originally born in Dallas, but I moved here from Louisiana with two of my good friends. And initially we wanted to buy a home together and split everything 3 ways. So that would have been my first step into investing, I guess, in real estate. But I didn't have enough of my portion of the down payment, closing costs and stuff like that. So I basically paid rent. So I got to watch my friends go through the investing process and kind of learn, I guess, through their experiences. They bought the house. They were technically landlords because I was there paying rent. And then I kind of saw that and started looking at different investing strategies and stuff as well. As far as getting into real estate, I started honestly with YouTube University. So just where we're at right now is kind of where I started. I started learning about wholesaling. And
Nice.
I was like, that's interesting. Okay. And so I started diving a little bit deeper, and then I got a little bit more involved. I started going to my city's real estate investing associations, connected with a couple of people there, and then started learning different real estate investing strategies as well. So like subject twos, working pre-foreclosures, tax liens, and things like that. And I learned a lot from there. Then COVID hit in 2020. And at the time, I was also working in the service industry. And one of our regulars there told our managers that they had some positions where people could work from home. And I didn't necessarily know what it was, but I was like, okay, it's COVID. I don't have a job right now and I need some kind of income. So I was like, okay, well, let me, see what they have going on. And then they told me basically I would be doing assignments with JP Morgan Chase. And so they taught me how to do that, how to fill out everything and get that situated. And after that, they brought me to the office when COVID started, letting up on restrictions. I moved into the office, and then I started working with their actual law firm, kind of going through closings, doing wires, client services. So I worked with the people like me, like loan officers, getting all of the documents that they needed together to be able to submit the file into underwriting and everything as well. Then after that, when they did a restructuring of their company, and I was like, let me go onto the front side of this and where the lending is and understand exactly how the money works and how people, formulate the loans in order to be able to give people financing in order to purchase homes, investments, and things like that.
When you say there was a restructuring, what was that? What happened there?
Well, there was a situation because of COVID, everything went up, as far as people buying homes, refinancing and everything. So they had tons of business at the time. And then when everything slowed down because interest rates shot back up, then they had to kind of slowly kind of restructure how they were doing things. And at the time I was 1099. So I kind of understood, what the situation could be. And so I just kind of like, I kind of just started looking at other ways to kind of get into it. A lot of people say, you picked a crazy time to get into mortgages, man. I was like, yeah, but if I can make it in this market, I can make it in anything. So that was kind of my mindset going into it.
Absolutely. No, I wondered that based upon, your background in terms of getting into the industry, all those, I wouldn't say all of those, but those couple of roles before actually becoming a loan advisor, within those roles, what couple skill sets really propelled you to get there, right? What prepared you to be able to do what you're doing?
I think a lot of it was just kind of seeing some of the different processes. It was kind of hard because it's kind of like getting pieces to a puzzle, but not knowing what the full picture is supposed to look like. So I did a lot of things, not really understanding a lot of why, but I understood the process and kind of what went into it. But I didn't have the full picture yet. So once I got into lending, I was like, oh, okay, I see why they needed a verification of employment. I understand why they needed a payout statement. I understand why I need to be formatted this way. So it kind of helped me from starting from another position and then starting out, because now I kind of saw ahead of the road. And
kind of solidified everything for you. Yeah.
So it makes me think of like, you remember the old adage where you used to start in the mailroom of a company and then the guy in the mailroom became the CEO? Because he understood all the different stages. Because that, again, for a lot of it is success is not being able to see the next step. It's not being able to be sure of what to do next. So I love where, AC was.
I like that, Winston, because, as entrepreneurs and business folks, a lot of times we don't understand that it's really good to get all those in the weed details kind of ahead of the big steps, right?
No, absolutely.
Perfect.
Yeah. Definitely.
Okay, so we understand a little bit more about the why. So let's jump into today's question. What does it take to sell mortgages in the current market?
I would say in this market as a loan officer, especially someone fairly new in the game as far as the lending side, I'm definitely learning a lot about sales. Obviously, this is a major sales job, and so I've had a couple of like spurts of kind of learning sales and things and different little ventures I've had, but nothing as heavy as this. I will say by far the hardest job I've had, because you started out as something that I really, had a slight understanding of, but it was a completely different area of the same field. And then on top of that, being a brand new business owner at the same time. So it's just kind of like, okay, it's a lot to kind of compartmentalize and then divide up and then being able to kind of conquer each part of it. But yeah, I would say in this market, the biggest thing is being personable, because people are going to need homes regardless of what the interest rate is, regardless of the availability of homes. People are still going to need somewhere to stay. So if they have someone that they feel like they can trust and either has the knowledge that they need or has connections to that knowledge, then I think it helps them to be able to make a more secure decision that they feel comfortable with. And so I think that's my biggest thing is right out of the gate. Yeah, people buy from people who they like and they trust. So my main thing isn't trying to sell you something. My main thing is trying to earn your trust. That's my first thing. So.
Love it.
I love that. You know what? That's so interesting that you mentioned the I want to say the need for sales. I've shared this before. We've talked about this before on the show. Like, no matter what company you think about, even in some instances, like non-for-profit, they all have a sales department or a marketing department.
Yeah.
Every single one of them, they have some type of sales department. And but it's funny because then the biggest thing people are afraid to do is to sell.
It's hard. I'm not gonna kid you on that one. It's definitely hard, because a lot of people, the first thing they see is somebody trying to sell me something I might not need, or trying to badger me or coerce me into buying something I might not want or need at the time.
Here's something that's funny about that. I collect quotes, and I'm always learning. I'm always listening to folks. Coincidentally, I just collected this quote yesterday from Eric Warren, right?
Okay.
And he said, an entrepreneur who isn't interested in selling stuff isn't an entrepreneur.
That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, you're not going to have much of a business.
I'm serious. Look, as soon as you said, I grabbed my phone like, it's in here. Let me pull this up, right?
Yeah, no, that's solid. That's solid.
Selling, no surprise, right? That is phenomenal. It all comes full
circle. I mean, it is what you have to do. And there's no shame in it. And that's what you got to kind of get over. What you do is, and then I love this is like AC's word. I'm sure he's gonna have it on his I want to talk about his tombstone, but anyway, value added. You got to realize that what you do is value added, and that comes with the cost.
Yeah,
you know
definitely.
I'm holding back.
So now, talk to us about the. I know you said you're only in this for a year now. The transition you kind of switched over, and I know recently you just said you closed your first sale.
So I've closed my first sale not too long ago. It was definitely a journey, because my first mindset is always study, and then act. So I'm having to learn how to study while acting, because it's one of those things where, it is a sales job. So your income is based off of how much you're able to sell. But then you also are working with the fact of being, cognizant of how you're selling to people and making sure you're selling correctly. So watching all of that at the same time while going through the files, getting everything taken care of for them, but still bringing in new business is always the kind of challenge of keeping that flow kind of going. And so in this case, I spent so much time trying to understand what was going on and trying to see every bit of the file, because it was my first loan, So after you do the sales part, you have all of the other stuff that I kind of had, moments of understanding back when I was at the law firm. And so now I'm having to look at all that and see how it actually works in the process, not just the paperwork and me at the desk, going through the documents. So now in this case, we had to do 2 appraisals for the property. There was a price reduction because of the appraisal coming back lower than what they asked. And then there was a whole thing with seller's concession. So I learned a lot. There were some bumps and things here and there, but I learned a lot from that experience in itself.
So for people who I was going to say that. Congrats on that for sure. Because I know that closing that first one is definitely probably the hardest one, right?
Yeah, no, definitely.
Getting over that belief that you could actually do it. We always talk about, even in that marketing, if you could if you can get somebody in your business within that first night you got in, that person had a likelihood of staying in that business much longer. The person who waited later on and such. But so to that point, for somebody who's not as familiar with some of the terminologies, you're saying appraisals. As an advisor, how do you make money in that? Just so I can understand now, like, what does that look like? You're saying you're selling. What are you selling and to who? Does that make sense?
Gotcha. So I sell mortgages, but the way I a lot of people will kind of pass it off as like, I'm selling opportunities and solutions kind of thing. So,
Okay.
you know, people having issues as far as finding solutions for their finance issues when purchasing a home. I find a solution with the programs and the available rates that I have in order to help them accomplish that goal. So
someone looking to buy reached out to you or your firm?
Yeah, so it's either someone reaches out to me or I reach out to someone or I work with a partner, whether it's a CPA or an attorney or maybe even, you know, mostly a realtor. And then they'll send me someone who's interested because they know that I can get them taken care of for what it is that they're needing done. And then we'll talk through, do a consultation, you know, just basically going over some of the things. What is your credit score? You know, how much do you normally make a year? What are you looking to do? Are you trying to buy an investment or primary residence? And then we'll kind of go through that. Once I have an idea of where they stand, then we can kind of go to the next step, which would be filling out the application and getting a little bit more details on that brief summary I just went over of the smaller things. So,
what to do. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's good. It looks like from a synergy standpoint, you mentioned some of your synergy partners in terms of what you're doing. You find the real estate agent is one of the biggest synergy partners, right?
Yeah, because a lot of times, like if you ask, you know, the regular person like on the street or whatever, like, hey, if you're looking to buy a home, what's the first thing you're going to do? Most of them, 9 times out of 10, they're going to be like, yeah, go to a realtor. I know a couple of realtors. I'll talk to them and, you know, figure out how to get a home, see if they can show me some houses, you know, because that's the exciting part. You know, whenever you look at a brand new car, you're like, man, I'm getting this next year. This is going to be nice. Then you got to figure out, how much do I have for down payment? How much is the car going to cost? How much is insurance? Well, we're the people who have to do that part. So, you know, if we have people going out trying to sell you cars first, and then you went and saw the car, you'd be like, it's not as exciting. But if you see what it is you're trying to buy first, and then you find the financing, it's a lot more exciting. So a lot of times we don't get the first connection. It's normally through a trusted partner that we've partnered up with, and then they send them to us because they trust us in our services.
Got it.
Yeah. I mean, there are definitely other ways as well. So once you get a little bit deeper and you have a bigger flow of business coming in, and you can start investing in like Zelle leads and things like that are a little bit more easier for you to get to them as opposed to them getting to you. But yeah, that definitely comes with a price tag and all of that stuff. So I'm still in the learning spaces. So I'm working up to that point.
Got it. No, reason I asked that as well, I mean, ironically, I'm kind of, and I would say most business folks would maybe look at it a little different in terms of the backside first, in terms of like pre-approval.
I was going to say.
No, definitely. Yeah, that's kind of what happens though. It's like they jump to step 3 and it's like, oh, wait, I need to go back because I need to figure out if I can afford what I'm looking at. So that's definitely kind of what happens.
But is it that you find, because the thing that's funny is I'm thinking about that, whereas the real estate agents and brokers here, and I'm in a New York market, typically want to know that you're pre-approved before they're even willing to take you to look at some property. So it's funny to hear Ian say that. Usually it's I'm thinking people are hitting you up being like, yo, look, I at least need to know. I at least need to know if I can even go waste somebody's time, you know, and take a look at a property, because I don't know if I could even get in this thing.
Yeah. And I think to be fair to them, I mean, just like this, like a lot of people may not understand some of the stuff that I'm talking about. Like if I say if I say an FHA loan, you know, with 3.5% down, a lot of people might be like, oh, I thought I needed 20% down for that. And it's just like, well, you know, not necessarily, but they may not know they need to go to a mortgage loan officer in order to get that information. Like even me, before I got into this and stuff, whenever I thought about buying homes, the first person I talked to was a real estate agent. You know, and then he told me, hey, have you talked to a lender yet? And I was like, oh, okay, yeah, let me do that. And then so I talked to the lender. He kind of told me, and I got just brief consultation. You know, we went over some basic information and stuff to kind of see where we were. And then, you know, he kind of gave us a plan of what it is that we would need to do in order to accomplish whatever the goal was, basically. So, but yeah, normally they go to the realtor or go to whoever they see as the real estate professional, which realtors are normally the face of most of that. And then that realtor will send them to someone to get a pre-approval so that they can know exactly what price range of homes to look at. Some people already, know to do that, a little bit more savvy, will go online and try to find, interest rate quotes and things like that. But yeah, the ones who don't normally are told by their realtor to get pre-approved with someone, or they have, you know, a lender that they work with that they send them to.
Okay. So I'm happy you actually brought up the PMI. I'm sorry, well, the FHA loans, because when I was a first-time home buyer, I actually, and it's again, what he's talking about is the typical, and I can't say industry standard. Industry standard is the whole 20%. That's not necessarily the case, right? 20% down and all
Yeah.
that.
So in a lot of cases, 10%, I'm sorry, 20% down is what you have to put down in order to avoid PMI, which is private mortgage insurance or mortgage insurance, depending on the type of file. So there are some situations where you can avoid PMI with certain types of loans, but certain lenders offer those certain types of loans in order to get them with a lesser payment than 20%. So like FHA, if you put down less than 20%, you'll have private mortgage insurance on that, pretty much for the life of your loan, unless you refinance out into a conventional loan. Conventional loans, you can do as low as 3% if you're a first-time home buyer, but you'll have private mortgage insurance on that until you reach 20%, basically. And then that PMI will fall off. It's basically the lender's way of saying, okay, you don't have enough skin in the game, so we'll kind of help to leverage what it is our risk is by having you pay a little bit more a month, so we feel more comfortable by issuing you this line of credit.
So here's what's interesting, and I'm happy we're again talking about this. When I went through this process, I was a real estate agent at the time, and it's so funny that I think what you do is so necessary in the industry, and how what you do makes a difference. Because I didn't necessarily have a mortgage broker; we just dealt with the lawyer and a real estate agent, so I didn't get to speak to someone like you. I'm just talking to the people who are just there to, and the bank to give you money, right?
Yeah.
Get you in the home. You know what I mean? There's a different way of looking at that. And so I didn't understand that. Was told, oh, hey, it's less money with this FHA. No one explaining the PMI to me and how that's going to hit you later on. And guys, there's a huge, and this is where I just want to bring this up, because a large part of what happened with the bubble was people who are being given homes or being given an opportunity to own a home, but they're not being educated on what that really means. So financially, they're committing to things, and that's why I think, again, what you do is so it's an amazing thing, because there are people getting someone home is like the American dream. You know what I mean? And you're like a gatekeeper to that. But people get homes, and we know they fall into foreclosures, and it's because they're not educated on what they're buying.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And yeah, definitely. And actually, like, testament to that is so my family actually went through foreclosure in 2013. That was actually probably the biggest motivator as far as like diving deeper into mortgages, as opposed to just, I guess, going to another place, kind of doing the same thing on the back end, which they're definitely important parts of the process. I think there's somewhere of like, was it like 54 people? Don't quote me on this, but like 54 people employed for each loan that are put through the system, you know, because they need that many people in order to have the touches on the file to get it taken care of. So, I mean, I could have just went the route of going back and trying to be a processor, or maybe even a loan officer assistant, which I've thought of a couple of times, you know, but I looked at it in the sense of, we went through foreclosure, not saying because we were given a bad loan or anything like that, but with the real estate investing information that I've received from my internships and just me going out and trying to network with people, there are so many different things that we could have done that could have, you know, helped us to not experience all the things that come with foreclosure. I mean, we filed for, So like, I'm in a process now, like we talked, I'm fairly new, but I understand that getting into this, I had to have someone who had a lot more information and knowledge and experience than I did in order for me to learn how to do this job properly. I could jump in and be like, oh man, I've been doing this for a year, 2 years, and I don't have a lot of money, but I need to make some deals happen. So like, I'm like, yeah, we can do that. Just like a yes man, nodding my head up and down for everything somebody says, you know, hoping that it was something to stick, you know. And I was like, that's not the correct way to go about it, because that's, like you said, that's exactly what happened in like the 2008 crash. Is like a lot of people giving people loans because they knew they could get paid and they knew they were going to qualify because they had a post, you know. And so I looked at it in the sense of, I will do my best to do what you need me to do in order for you to accomplish your goals. But I will also, on that, make sure that you understand what it is you're getting into, so that you're comfortable with the position you'll be in. I think that's the biggest thing that my goal in this industry is I don't know everything. And I won't. I have loan officers that I know who've been in this game for 20 years and they'll still run across a loan program that they didn't know about. It's like, oh, wow, I didn't even know that was a thing, or didn't know you needed that. And I understand it. So I'll let people know right up front. I am in my first year of lending. I've been in mortgages for almost 4 years now. My team lead at my company is amazing. He's been a CEO of the company for that same location for almost 20 years, and he's been originating for almost 30. So if I don't know, I'll find out. And if I don't know, I'll definitely ask the person who I know is going to have the answers for me. So,
there you go.
Absolutely.
There you go.
Absolutely.
But Ian, that testimony you have, though, that why, which I would consider that's your why.
Yeah, that's big.
Leading with that with a client. Hey, listen, I've gone through this foreclosure deal before personally. And I want to make sure that this doesn't happen to you, right? This is why we're going to go through this, 1, 2, 3, or what have you. Man, to me, that is just, here we go, so value added that any client should love and want to have you as an advisor. So
no, I appreciate that. I really do.
That is very commendable.
I'll say that.
Yeah. I mean,
thank you guys. Drop it in the show.
Oh yeah, no, appreciate you all for the comments and things too. But yeah, it was
show some love
for
Ian in the comments,
guys. But yeah, so this is crazy because this always sounds like the whole story as far as the foreclosure is always like a weird story, because I think it kind of solidified once I started realizing like, no, this is what you're supposed to do. This is what you're called to do. And don't get me wrong, like I have days where it's like, God, you sure this is what I'm supposed to be doing? Because I don't know, but I have to, actually, I don't.
Hold on.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry, I'm going in. But yeah, go ahead.
No, I know. No, you're good. You're good, and that's why we love it, guys. If you, like I said, throw it in the chat if you are loving this conversation. We are out of time for this segment, but we're going to take this into overtime. So for all of our Patreon community, exactly, I'm telling you, because I really do want to hear more about the foreclosure and that process. Because like AC said, that really hit on it. That you could hear even as you started talking about that, you started getting really passionate. So guys, join us on the Patreon side. The link, where to go. Ian, brother, thank you so much, man.
Absolutely. Thank y'all for having me. It was definitely my honor.
Loved it, bro. You have a lot of people.
Absolutely. All right, guys. So meet us on the Patreon side. And until then, as always, remember, you deserve the good life. Say that. We'll see you guys.